Hello guys, Captain Alex Mason here. We're back for some more Call of Duty 2 Big Red 1 stuff. I've now finished the campaign, so all that's left is really to go through all the extras, bonus materials.
This is as real as it gets. From the people who bring you Discovery Channel, the Military Channel. Go behind the lines. To get the Military Channel, call your local digital cable or satellite company today.
Somehow I feel like they're not around anymore. Let's go to characters. Victor Vic Denley. Denley grew up in a small town, Texas. I feel like that's grammatically incorrect. I think it would in a small town in Texas. He wasn't much in school, but he made a hell of a linebacker. He enlisted when he turned 18 with the full intention of tearing off Hitler's mustache and shoving it up his... Okay. Alvin Brooklyn Bloomfield. Despite his nickname, Bloomfield was raised in the Bronx, the youngest of a large Jewish family. A huge baseball fan, he would skip school whenever possible to watch his idol Joe DiMaggio play ball. Stephen Kelly. Originally from Connecticut, Kelly led an affluent life as the only child of a respected surgeon. Graduating at the top of his class, he studied English and French literature at Yale before being drafted. This was during the time that the draft was still a thing, except it wasn't as bad as Vietnam was. Glenn Hawkins. Raised in Duluth, Minnesota, Hawkins supported his family after his father left for work one morning and never returned. He has a stoic demeanor with an occasional dry wit which helps him bond with his men. John Jackson Schmitty Smith. Smith grew up in Cleveland and was never happy unless he was fixing a piece of machinery. Long before the war in Europe, he was stationed as a mechanic in the artillery division for several years. Now, this guy, they don't really have a picture of him in the wiki, so as of now, he's not a main character, and he only appeared in one mission. Okay. Miles Castillo is from Sacramento, California. He attended public school where he sat on the bench of the JV basketball team. He didn't mind not playing, as he was just happy to be wearing the uniform. And now, Norman Delaney. Originally from Chicago, Delaney was a born leader. His father was a decorated World War I lieutenant and encouraged him to attend West Point, where he excelled and became obsessed with the tactics of war. So there's that. Now we got the weapons. And the M1A1 Thompson, also known as the Tommy gun. The M1A1, or I'm just going to call it the Thompson. The Thompson is an American weapon that became infamous for its use by gangsters during the Prohibition era. Of course, they had a different model, the Chicago typewriter model. The MAS-38. This French submachine gun has a distinctive bent look to it for a more compact design. 7.65mm caliber, 32 round clip, 650 rounds per minute. The MP40. The German MP40 was typically only given to platoon and squad leaders. 9mm caliber, 32 round clip, 500 rounds per minute. The Beretta 1938A. This Italian submachine gun was also used by the German and Romanian armies. A 9mm caliber, 30 round clip. The M1 Garand, the first semi-automatic rifle in American military service. A ping sound is produced when an empty clip is ejected. A 30-06 8-round cartridge clip. Whoops. The MAS-36 French semi-auto rifle adopted its name from the plant it is produced at. Manufacturer Dians Descent. I don't know how to pronounce French names. A 7.5mm caliber with a 5-round box. The Carcano M38. Based on a design dating back to 1891, a similar Italian rifle was linked to the JFK assassination in 1963. Bolt action 7.35. It's actually, I don't think that's quite true. I think it's actually a 6.5 caliber 6-round clip, because the Carcano, the one that shot Kennedy, was a 6.5. It's also very deadly, and that's the whole reason why Oswald chose it over all the other ones from his magazine. Like, you had an M1A1 carbine, you had the M1 Grand, and the Carcano. He was a former Marine, and that's why he kind of chose the Carcano, because he knew it was deadly. Okay, the M1 carbine. With over 6 million manufactured, it is the most produced U.S. small arms in history. A 7.62mm caliber and a 15-round clip. The Gewehr 43, or Gewehr 43. This German semi-automatic design is based off the captured Russian Dekorov rifles, and by that they mean the SVT-40. A 7.92mm caliber 10-round clip. Here we go. Browning 30 caliber. The US M1919 weighs 32 pounds and uses a folding bipod mounted at the front of the weapon. A 30-06 250-round belt. MG34. This German medium MG was often used for anti-aircraft while mounted on a tripod. It jammed easily when dirty. A 7.92mm caliber with a 75-round drum. The Walther P38. Issued to German non-commissioned officers and officers as a replacement for the more costly Luger, a 9mm 8-round clip, first use of a double action lock. I've never seen any of these pistols, but I wish they had pistols in the earlier CODs that you could play with, or use. The MAS 1935. This became the official French service sidearm in 1936. The ammunition was only marginally effective in combat. 7.65mm 8-round clip. This one's my favorite. The Colt. With a design by John Moses Browning, this pistol was the standard U.S. combat handgun for over 70 years. It's still being used today, I'm not kidding. A 45 caliber with 7+1 round clip. The MK2 Pineapple. This fragmentation grenade was commonly known as the pineapple grenade due to its distinctive shape, blast radius of over 30 feet. Stillheimgranate. Nicknamed Potato Masher, this German grenade has a larger explosive charge than the U.S. fragmentation grenade. Because German engineering. The Schalteralt. This French M1924/29 is largely designed around the U.S. Browning automatic rifle, a 7.5mm caliber with 25-round clip. The BAR. The U.S. M1918A2 BAR was Clyde Barrows of Bonnie and Clyde's fame weapon of choice during his spree. 30-06 20-round cartridge clip. This weapon actually saw action during World War I, if I'm not mistaken, because it was when the U.S. got involved in World War I, 1918. The Breda M1930. The M30's closed bolt system allowed the chamber and barrel to heat rapidly, causing rounds to cook off before they were fully in the chamber. The MP-44, or STG-44. This German weapon was one of the first assault rifles developed. Again, assault seems like a really bad name because anything can be used as an assault rifle, whether or not it's bolt action or not. But anyway, 7.92 millimeter caliber, 30 round clip, 550 rounds per minute. The Karabiner, or Kar-98K, the German Kar-98K could be fitted with a telescopic scope, increasing its range to 850 yards. 7.92 millimeter caliber, 5 round clip. The Springfield, or the 03 Springfield, uses a 2.2 times telescopic scope for a sniping capability. Could only be reloaded 1 round at a time due to the location of the scope. Well, same went for the Kar-98. But this weapon, I know for a fact, was used in World War I. The M2 Browning, originally designed to be a U.S. anti-aircraft mounted gun, used as anti-aircraft and anti-armor during the war. 50 caliber belt-fed ammo. The M1914 HMG. I think this is a Vickers K machine gun, but I'm not sure. This French weapon originally had a too small 30 round clip, 7.92 millimeter caliber, 249 round belt. The MG42, nicknamed Hitler's buzzsaw, never actually heard it referred to that, due to the sound from its high rate of fire, 7.92 millimeter caliber with a 50 round belt. The M9A1 bazooka. The U.S. bazooka is a 4-foot long reusable tube with a simple wooden stock and sight. 60 millimeter caliber rocket grenades. It's a Panzerschreck. With a design based on captured bazookas, this German tank terror could penetrate over 200 millimeter of armor, 800 millimeters of anti-tank rockets. Keep in mind that the M9A1 bazooka was also given to the Soviets during the Second World War, and all the other allies, so that's how they managed to capture it, or they could have captured it from U.S. The Panzerfaust. The tube of this German tank fist was discarded after firing 44 millimeter caliber anti-tank rockets, a 35-yard effective range. The Panzerschreck has also been redesigned in Call of Duty Ghosts. TNT-timed explosives, also known as the Trinitipolurine. I feel stupid for not knowing how to pronounce these. TNT is a relatively stable chemical compound, and in fact can be treated rather roughly. Satchel charges. These high explosives were impromptu constructions, consisting of smaller explosives and C4 placed in portable canvas bags for easy detonation. Okay, that covers the weapons. Now the vehicles. M3 Stuart light tank. Many U.S. Stuarts were delivered to Britain as part of the Lend-Lease Act. Primary 307 or 37 millimeter M3. Secondary 3x 30 caliber. I don't really know I can't remember what that means. The M301 half track. This U.S. half track was manufactured by the White Motor Company and used primarily as a transport. Armament 50 cal Browning M2. The Panzerwehr. This was the most common German tank of World War II. Primary 75mm cannon, secondary 2 by 7.92mm MGs. The M1340. The crews of this Italian tank often used sandbags for extra armor. Primary 47mm cannon, secondary 4 by 8mm MGs. The Kielwagen, or the U-Monster, the Kielwagen. The German word Kielwagen is an abbreviation of the Kielwagen, which literally means bucket seat car. Deuce and a half truck. These sturdy American trucks were a vital link in the Allies' supply chain. The Willys Jeep. The origin of the Jeep name is unknown. It is possibly related to its GP vehicle designation or a character with the same name from a popular 1930s comic. Quad 50 cal AA turret. Often mounted on the back of a U.S. half-track, the U.S. squad-mounted 50 caliber machine gun was effective against aircraft, tanks, and other armor. The M2A1 105mm howitzer. The M2 howitzer was the standard artillery piece of the U.S. Army, and they fired at a high angle, delivering a plunging payload. Tiger 1, also known as the Panzer VI. The German Tiger 1 weighed twice as much as Panzerwehr's primary 88mm cannon, which came from the idea of the Flak 88. They literally installed that type of cannon inside the tank because they decided, this works pretty good. And secondary is a 2 by 7.92mm MGs. Have the SDKF Z222. The SDKFZ was a German four-wheel drive armored car, often mounted with a 20mm autocannon and a 7.92 millimeter MG. I don't know how to pronounce this one. The Kettenkraftrad. A unique tracked motorcycle that was used by the Germans to move troops and arms quickly on the battlefield. The Nebelwerfer. The German gun was nicknamed Screaming Mimi due to the screeching noise of the rounds. Each gun has 5 160mm barrels. Oh, this is a common German half-track. The Hanomag was integral not only in transporting infantry, but also in leading the famous German tank divisions onto the battlefield. The Opel Blitz truck. One of the workhorses of the German army, the 3-ton class diesel-powered Opel truck, was used in all theaters of the war. The M16 half-track. With a squad 50 caliber mounting, the US M16 was an effective anti-aircraft weapon, carried 50,000 rounds of ammo. Ah yes, the M4 Sherman. The main tank produced by the US in World War II, while underpowered compared to the Panzers, their greater numbers were able to overwhelm the Germans. That's another reason. So what happened was, we mass-produced the M4s. They weren't as strong and they weren't as big, and the reason why they weren't as big was because we needed to put all these tanks on ships, send them overseas over to the Allies. That's why they weren't as big. But because we mass-produced them compared to the Panzer IIs or the King Tigers, they had to manufacture one at a time, and they were big, low, and they had like a weakness behind. which is why you needed like maybe 4 M4s to go against 1 Tiger, because it's, you know. Alright, the M4 Sherman Dozer. The Sherman tank could be equipped with a dozer blade to push massive objects, including destroyed and derlicit, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, tank husks. The Spitfire. The British RAF Spitfire is a single-seat fighter that is often credited with winning the Battle of Britain. The Ju-87 Stuka. The German dive bomber has wind-powered sirens on the wheel covers used to scare its targets, which is that noise it makes, you know, the yeah! Lockheed P-38 Lightning. The U.S. Lightning is a single-seat fighter bomber with a unique twin booms design. Another fun fact about this, the state that I live in, during World War II, there was a famous American pilot named Richard Bong. He flew in the Pacific in one of these. Unfortunately, when he was done, he returned home, but his plane didn't, and his plane was shot down. And he unfortunately died the same day we dropped the first bomb on Japan, when his jet crashed. He was flying experiment jets at the time. The B-24 Liberator. This heavy bomber was produced in greater numbers than any other American combat aircraft. The Messerschmitt Me-323. The German Me-323 was the largest ground-based cargo plane in the war and was capable of carrying 100 combat-ready troops or 15 tons of freight. The Messerschmitt Me-109. The Me-109 was the standard fighter of the German Luftwaffe. The only pilots to score over 300 aerial kills flew in the Me-109. The Focke-Wulf FW-190, a single-seat fighter of the German Luftwaffe, the FW-190 could also perform as a bomber. Another fun fact about German planes, Germany made them so fast, like, they weren't as maneuverable. They wouldn't be, like, so to speak, if they were going full speed, they wouldn't be able to pull up fast enough before hitting the ground compared to the American fighter planes. They weren't as fast as the German ones, but they were more maneuverable, so if they were going at full speed, they'd be able to pull up easily. The Douglas DC-3. With the U.S. military designation of the C-47, the DC-3 became the standard civilian airliner after the war, which would make sense. The Waco Glider. This unarmed U.S. glider could carry 13 troops or 7,000 pounds of equipment and were often towed by C-47s, max towed speed of 150 miles per hour. The P-47 Thunderbolt. Heavily armed and armored, this American fighter/bomber proved effective throughout the war. Armament 8x50 50 caliber Browning MGs. They were also used by the Tuskegee Airmen, which were African American pilots. The Flakwerling. This German anti-aircraft gun could be fired either in diagonally opposite pairs or all 4 barrels at once, also effective against tanks. The Flak 88. This 800mm caliber German anti-aircraft gun was often also used for anti-armor purposes. 20 rounds per minute rate of fire. The Doc W Amphibious. The D meant it was designed in the 4th year of the war. The U meant utility. The K indicates all-wheel drive, and the W indicated two powered rear axles. The LCVP Higgins vote. The U.S. landing craft, vehicle, and personnel was primarily constructed of plywood. Armament, 2x30 caliber MGs. You commonly see these in D-Day and the invasions of Okinawa and pretty much any amphibious assault. The LCI, Landing Craft Infantry. This U.S. flat-bottomed craft was designed to quickly deliver troops during an amphibious assault and could often land on the beach. V-2 rockets. Although militarily ineffective, this long-range German rocket had a strong psychological impact. Captured V-2 equipment helped fuel U.S. space travel development. As a matter of fact, we as the human race took the very first picture in space using a V-2 rocket. I don't know how they did it, but there was a camera installed on the V-2 rocket, was launched into space, and I had the first picture of it in 1949. It's also one of the reasons why the Soviets and the U.S. were trying to get German scientists to help them create all this stuff, because they were in an arms and space race at the time. Concept art. So this is Oran. You got this, pretty intense, and then you got the hangar. Tunisia. Concept art of the actual mission you play. And again, I like how that has the Screaming Eagles patch when we're not Screaming Eagles. We're the 1st Infantry, not the 101st Airborne. I don't even think they were there. Were they? I'm not really sure. My buddy might know. I think this is actually a real picture. Come to think of it, it looks so real. Doesn't really look like concept art. This one maybe looks like concept. Oh, now we got 2nd Rangers Battalion? What's going on here? I thought this game was Big Red 1. And these planes kind of look like the ones from... Actually, they are. What's that game? What, are they cheating now? This is from United Offensive. Because the B-17s never made an appearance in this game. Yeah. This had to be copied from United Offensive. Because they were never there. Sicily landings at Jayla. Their Crash Douglas. Some farm field out in Piano Lupo. This is the place, and if you guys can tell in the background, like right there, I don't know if you can see it. That thing I'm pointing to is actually an active volcano, and they're going to go into more detail in the videos, but during the time of this battle in Tronia, Sicily, an active volcano was erupting at the time, so they were fighting amongst the ashes from a volcano. Omaha Beach. The 71st anniversary of D-Day was yesterday. Omaha was, I think, the bloodiest U.S. landing at the Normandy beaches. But I'm not saying a lot of people didn't know this, but A lot of the times they forget that a day before the 101st, 506th, and 82nd, and there's probably a few more, but those are the three noticeable ones, dropped in by, they were paratroopers, they dropped into Normandy first to try and level the playing field of the guys on the beaches. Mons. Mons by far has to be my most talked city or location in Belgium, because World War I had a big battle in Mons, and they called it the Angels of the Mons, and this was the first year. Some British soldiers, when they were fighting against the German Empire, they were, again, trench warfare, and you never dared go out into no man's land because you were going to die. And one guy claimed he saw like angels, like ghosts of dead cavalrymen, like on horseback with their swords. They drew their swords and they were charging at him, and a couple of soldiers joined with them, and they were charging with them, and the Germans were surprised, started shooting their machine guns because they had superior firepower compared to the British cavalrymen. They had bolt-action rifles with mounted bayonets, and they completely overcame the German trenches and took them. They completely cut the Germans off. They were surprised. They were scared. This is Eilendorf Ridge, if I'm pronouncing that right. It kind of reminds me of Munich for some reason. More concept. That's an M48! God, it's like those crappy World War II movies again. This is the last mission. Okay, that covers the concept art. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to do another video, and that's on the bonus material. This is because I have the collector's edition, which means I got all like this stuff to go with it. So, I'm Captain Alex Mason. I'll see you guys real quick.